Right guys, coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Firstly, I'd like to thank you for attending this meeting today. As many of you know, our partners, the Gaudry Corporation, are looking to expand the organisation to overseas territories. The organisation has tried overseas expansion before on 3 separate occasions, but unfortunately failed each time. It's felt this is largely due to a lack of marketing strategy on their part. With initial discussions with the Gaudry Corporation, our organisation has decided to take part in an international joint venture that could lead to the established and sustainable growth for Corner plc. Both organisations hope that the combination of our business skills, innovation of our engineers, a wealth of business experience and the knowledge that our companies possess can result in an exploitation of our world-class products that are now at our disposal. This will ultimately establish our sales channel globally. Corner plc will deal with the marketing aspect of the expansion. We have the world-class products at our disposal, but now we have to carefully decide what strategy approach to take, which is why you're all here today. I asked you to prepare this meeting by investigating different countries in the European, Middle Eastern, African and Indian territories that you feel would be sustainable to expand to. Take into consideration the different factors that come along with each. If any of you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
So what's the deal in place for Gaudry just now? What will happen? Like, what's going to change after this expansion?
Our organisation has sourced industrial refrigeration parts from Gaudry over the past 10 years. The annual value of these parts have averaged approximately $5 million per year. When this expansion takes place, Gaudry have agreed terms to provide parts to Corner exclusively. Any more questions?
No, not from me. No.
Good?
Yeah.
Good. Now that you have all been briefed, I will now listen to suggestions and ideas you may have over the international expansion. This is the discussion, so please input your thoughts.
If I start, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I actually researched the United Arab Emirates, which is seen as one country. The UAE is divided into 7 different emirates, and each of these have their own governmental organizations. According to their corruption index, the UAE scores very low on their chart, which means that there's almost to none corruption in this country. The United Arab Emirates have a very healthy trade relationships with many organizations around the world and also countries. In terms of economic factors, the country is extremely wealthy and has a very high GDP rate per capita with a consistent growth over the years. A major problem is the high inflation rate, which is one of the biggest in the world at 1.8%. Startup costs would be high in regards to paying for premises, taxes and living costs for our staff. The country has a very hot and dry climate, which would be perfect to sell our cooling machinery. The wealth of the inhabitants could mean that we can raise the price of our products and still see a rise in sales. Another problem I came across would be the culture of the country. We would need to totally understand every aspect of their Islamic religion and language.
Yeah.
So essentially, to expand to the UAE, it would be expensive for an organization to enter, but we should have no trouble selling machinery at a profit once we have established our brand.
Exactly.
I like the idea.
Okay.
I hear all the time what a prosperous country the United Arab Emirates is. However, I don't think the people of Gaudry will be interested. We have to take into consideration that they have failed 3 times already in regards to overseas expansion. They want a safe bet. The UAE is too much of a gamble at this point in the venture. Definitely see this as a long-term plan, but at this moment in time we have to choose a country with less start-up costs. I also do not feel our department is ready to tackle such a country, to tackle a country with such vastly different culture to ours. Any other suggestions?
Yeah, I have one. I thought about looking into a country in Africa, particularly South Africa. This is because the economy in South Africa is the second largest in the whole Africa continent and has a huge population of around 15 million people with around 11 different languages. The hot and dry weather would be great to sell our cooling machinery. However, one big problem is the high unemployment rate at 25%. The manufacturing industry's contribution to the economy is relatively small, providing just 50% of the GDP. South Africa is a sophisticated and promising market, offering a combination of well-developed first world economic infrastructure with a vibrant emerging market economy. So I would really
Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm really not entirely convinced, because I also had a brief look at South Africa, and there are very high levels of unemployment, as you already mentioned, and low level of education and a huge crime rate. So
Yeah, but if you look past that, I really think that South Africa is a prosperous market. And if we were to expand there, we would be able to clearly establish ourselves as a leading organization in that country.
Again, I think the culture aspect is putting me off. As you said, there was around 11 national languages. So I think that'd be a problem for our staff and our team. And you've not really entirely convinced me that South Africa is the best place to go. I think the UAE, the factors from that sound a bit better. So, anyway.
If I may, what about Germany? I mean, it's in Europe. We're still in the EU, so I think we should still capitalise that, because God knows what's going to happen in 2 years' time anyway. Plus, we're familiar with most of the legislation just now, and I think we're kind of culturally similar, so I don't think we'll have an issue with the whole cultural barrier. Plus, Germany has comparatively low cost of raw materials, and like Germany imports 2/3 of its energy. In fact, it's the world's third largest energy provider. The service sector contributes 70% of the GDP. More than 29 million people work in the service sector. Most products are in engineering, which includes automobiles, metals, machinery and chemical goods. And you'll see in the index, 1991 to 2010, local firms took part in 301 acquisitions and 40 mergers. Germany has around 82 million residents, so once we've got our market share right, once we've got our market segmentation right, we'll find out who to hit. Not literally hit them, but you know who we're going to target. As the largest national economy in Europe, the most important trading partners are just now is France, the Netherlands, the US and the UK. So while we're in the UK, I think we should keep healthy relations within Germany.
However, the only worry I would have is because of such an established machinery sector, there would be a lot of competitors, and do we have the knowledge for the market?
We are very confident our products are the best in the world. We feel that a highly competitive environment, our products will shine through. So I actually really like the sound of Germany. It's not too far away from our base of operations. It's a great economy and the culture is incredibly difficult to understand. The manufacturing industry over there seems to be one of the best in the world.
Seems like a perfect fit for us.
Yeah, Germany seems really great, but I would like to just explain my suggestions before we really decide.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, because I looked at India, and the economy has been significantly stable since the introduction of the industrial reform policies in 1991. The country registered a GDP of 5.00 trillion in 2014, following a further improved of GDP growth rate of 5% in 2015. India has also a population of more than 1.2 billion people. I feel in such a highly populated country, if we were to establish ourselves quickly, before the country becomes infested with other organizations, we could really make a tremendous profit.
Yes, I'm sorry, I feel that could be a longer term plan. The Indian economy will continue to grow over the years and of course there will be low expenses for organisations. However, I strongly like the sound of Germany. It's the industrial capital of the world and seems like the safest option. I believe that the people of Gorgie will like Germany as well because of the established economy and because it's so close to our base of operations. There are many cultural aspects we would need to worry about, so I feel our staff will be able to adapt to the German people. Our high quality products are innovative and we'll be able to rise to the top of the competitive scene. What does everybody think about Germany then?
Seems alright.
Yeah, seems the best
take
option.
my idea forward.
Yeah, for now it's like the best option.
Yeah.
Great. I'll notify the people of Gorgie. Thank you for attending this meeting today, and I'll organise another meeting in the near future to talk about the German, so we can talk about the German market.
Yeah, great.
Right.
Good, thank you.
Hey guys, come on.
Hello.
How you doing? How's it going? You okay?
Yeah.
Sleepy.
So as you all know, last meeting we decided to pick Germany as a chosen country to export our products. Obviously,
Yeah.
culture is similar. Germany has great economic factors that can provide great value for our company. And last meeting I also asked you to provide me with information about the competition and what strategy we're going to take once we enter Germany. So did anybody find out anything?
We found out that the bargaining power of the customers is low.
Mhm.
This is due to the fact of the wide range of potential customers. And the market we go to, there are a lot of potential customers. So that's
Mhm.
a positive thing
Yeah, absolutely.
for the German market, right?
Yeah.
Right, they say Germany is a very productive and industrial country. Every factory that uses loads of machines produce a lot of heat in factory itself. Therefore, factories will always need at least air conditioning or cooling. So the hotter they are, the more cooler we make our products.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. My department found out that there are already a lot of industrial companies which are working in this field and try to produce this cooling machines in Germany. I think we are not the only one who had this idea, you know?
Yeah, we also did. My product department also did a lot of research, also in internal and external factors, all relevant, and we saw that the last 3 times we were focusing too much on applying cost leadership, so just reducing the cost. We were just trying too much to differentiate from our competitors, and I think we should go this time for a new strategy. So less focusing on costs, less focusing on to be very different than our competitors. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, we should focus on a particular segment at this moment, and not just look at our price. Like, we need to find out who we're going to target first, and then determine the price. Kind of makes sense first, and then accordingly we focus on a cooling system anyway. But again, find out who we're going to target. Are we going to target the venues? What kind of companies are we going to target? Are we targeting people? Are we targeting businesses? So I think we should find our consumer market target first.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, in this case, I think the industrial purposes are the best.
Okay.
Because they use a lot of cooling machinery.
Okay, aye. That sounds promising. How are we going to enter this market? Is it easy to enter this market in Germany? What threats will come along when we enter as well?
Although we have a lot of knowledge about the market we are in now here in Scotland, the German market is more developed and has a very high level of competition. But if you look at our records, our successes in Scotland and the United States, they have already shown that we can be successful, but that's only when we focus.
And also my research has concluded that entering this particular market in Germany isn't sometimes easy, as long as we do enough research to keep gathering knowledge of this market, you know, at the end. So we have the resources to enter this market. The only question is, do we enter the market direct or indirect?
I think the best thing to do is probably enter the market indirect. We do not know much about the German market yet, and you're right, we need to keep gathering knowledge. This would mean that we need to improve our R&D department for this market. Last 3 times we've failed mainly because we tried to enter the market directly with our products.
Yeah.
Besides, I think the Germans do not trust the new entrants like us in the market. We are new and not very well known provider, so we need a partner combined with a thorough marketing strategy. So perhaps maybe merging with one of the local German companies.
Yeah, I also think it's very important that we carry out a sort of added value that what differs us from the other companies that are already settled in this market. Yeah, we have a lot of knowledge. I think maybe it's something that we also do, like a 24-hour maintenance service.
I think this would be one of the most important parts of our concept.
Yeah, we can offer that.
Or like we have 3 types of products for the cooling systems, for example, and these are everywhere the same, so we cannot do extra features on the product. So I think the best thing is to give them extra services with the product.
And what kind of industries do you think we should focus on?
I think pharmaceutical and pharmaceutical companies, chemical companies. I think we can do that like more on the short term, and maybe we after that can focus on schools. But I think we should start with really industrial clients.
Why is that?
This is because this is our part of the industry we are already successful here in Scotland. We saw in our home market that we distributed these kinds of companies very successful. And yeah, according to most of the research, the chemical and pharmaceutical industries, they produce a lot of heat, and they will always need this kind of
Cooling machinery.
cooling machinery. So,
Yeah, but do you really think that when you use this strategy in Scotland, that it also works in Germany too, in the same way?
I think we just need to.
Because the German market is too different from our saturated market we're already in.
Yeah, but I just think we need to modify our strategy a little bit to the German culture, and then just try to reach the companies as best as possible.
Now, I think in the short term, what we'll do, we'll outsource our companies that exist longer in the market and that we'll have knowledge about, so we can use the companies that we're going to outsource from. We'll take their expertise, we'll take the training, and that way what we learn from them we'll incorporate to ourselves and become more direct in the future and long term. So I think going forward we should outsource. Like I said, we'll have to use what they have.
Yeah, I think outsourcing is also a very good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so what competitive advantage do you think we have then?
Yeah, so as said before, we use a focus strategy because we already know the segment that we are going into. A focus strategy should target market segments that are less vulnerable to substitutes or where competition is weakest to earn above average return on investment.
Kind of, sorry to interrupt you there, but why don't we try differentiation or cost leadership?
In this market there is a homogeneous product, which means that it is almost impossible to properly differentiate from our competitors. So, however, cost leadership is also an option, but we don't do this because of our non-price sensitive customers.
I think it's important to define the roles of Connor and Godray into this whole plan. We are going to. I think we are outsourcing, of course. I think it's important that we define that one company is delivering the parts, for example, to Germany, and that the other company is focusing on sales and marketing.
Mm-hmm. Well, this thing, Godray have said they'll exclusively sell us parts, so we can manufacture them, and then during this joint venture they're only going to do it exclusively for us. So that is, Godray is kind of like our outsourcing that way. You know, we've agreed a deal with them now in a joint venture. So
basically we're taking their expertise and trying to move it to Germany.
Well, it's our expert. It's mostly we're dealing with the marketing part.
Yeah, with all due respect, I mean, we've been using these guys for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried this 3 times. You think we should potentially get somebody else?
I mean, that could be something down the road, but I just think we've agreed terms now to do that for Germany. So I think that'd be, as you said, that's probably a good idea. Maybe when we decide to do a longer term plan to we said the UAE.
So basically, what you're saying, a short term we'll take.
With the deals in place now, we can't back out.
Yeah, we'll use them short term and just take what we can from them long term.
So they do give us the high quality parts that we need for the machinery. So it's
yeah, I just don't want them saying like 4th time what's going to be different, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. They failed 3 times previously themselves.
Yeah.
And obviously now they've contacted us for the marketing. So.
But I think now we really are playing it safe with staying this close to home and just picking a segment in the market.
Mm-hmm. So you're trying to say essentially. So I mean, we have to play safe because Godray obviously have, as you said, they've failed 3 times before, so they want a safe bet. But you kind of want to maybe take a risk without them. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think it's a good idea just to take them with us.
Mm-hmm.
What we'll do is we'll get in touch with them, we'll meet with them, we'll send them a wee memo of what to expect, and we'll just finalise everything.
As I said, they're trusting in us now to actually decide the strategy in the country, so we've not actually spoke to them yet. We plan next week, so I think we're planning to do that, and we'll meet the Godray representatives and tell them what's happening, because as I said, they're dependent on us to do the marketing side of things, so they'll just probably be happy with whatever we decide. Okay, so we'll do that next week then. So, good discussion today. I think we've kind of narrowed down what we're going to do. Use a focus strategy. Certain segments you're planning to do pharmaceutical and chemicals only, short term, and then maybe after that, once we've kind of built a brand up in Germany, we want to move into other sectors. So essentially what is happening now, we are going to go to Godray and explain to them the country we've chosen and also the strategy we're going to take. I would probably guess they're going to go along with it because, you know, they're dependent on us to do the marketing side of things, and we obviously think it's a good idea. So what we'll do is next week we'll go see them, or we'll arrange a meeting with them, and then we'll take it from there. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, how's it going?
You okay?
Nice to meet you.
Fine, how are you?
What took so long? You're late.
Oh, traffic, terrible traffic.
Let's get to business, guys.
So we've been discussing for the last couple of weeks now what we're going to do with this expansion. We thought a great place to expand to for overseas is Germany.
Right.
So obviously it's in Europe, so it's close to home, which is obviously very important. Godray have failed 3 times in the past when expanding to overseas. So I think you probably want a safe bet, you know, something that you know is quite close to home, something that isn't going to be too much out of the way. Germany's obviously got a great economy. They're known for being the industrial capital of the world. They specialise in machinery, so that's obviously why we're going over there. And the German people seem to like something that's very innovative, which is obviously what our product is. Extremely high quality. So we just feel that Germany is probably the perfect place to go to.
Could you maybe elaborate a little bit more on Germany? What is it that we can offer Germany that other companies can't?
Yeah, first we have to look at what can we offer and what are we going to offer before we start to differentiate ourselves from our competitors. I think it's in the beginning we are focusing on industry. You have to think about pharmaceutical companies, for example car companies who these companies are really demanding for cooling systems. So now the product gets clear that we are going to export, that is cooling systems. Then
So we only sell cooling systems, right?
Yeah, only the cooling systems
Okay,
to the
that sounds
industrial areas. We were thinking about doing this direct, but again we want to take out the high risk of this. That's why we decided to do this indirect. So in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we will start on very through our search for a good partner that we really can trust, that we really have a good bonding with.
And just to elaborate on that, between 1991 and 2010, local German firms took part in 40 mergers. So I mean, there is opportunity to maybe get that experience from somebody in Germany already. So what do you think about our strategy in the chosen country then?
Yeah, as you said, Germany sounds like the perfect market to go to, and it's a good idea to start with only the cooling systems. We have a lot of products to offer, but first we should see how the market is getting along with our products, and then start to maybe expand.
Yeah, I like the fact that you want to keep Germany short term, and then if Germany's successful, move over to the UAE or.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not only that we take, for example, Germany short term, but it's we do everything. We are focusing on to start really small, like only cooling systems. We go indirect, so that's less risk for us, and we go close. And maybe in the future we can start with, for example, go direct. Then we do also heating systems, and maybe we can also then expand to other interesting areas where we looked at with our knowledge and.
I think this all makes sense. But what will happen is our people will get in touch with your people, will collaborate effectively and immediately. When do you want to start?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
When should we get started?
I thought you were.
just when you.
The sooner the better, yeah.
Yeah, the sooner the better. Yeah.
All right, guys.
As I can read here, like you want to outsource it, right?
Yeah, outsource.
Outsource, like I think that's a very good idea to start with in Germany.
Yeah, also because of the high level of competition, that's a big threat. As with our weakness, also that actually it is a weakness that we have a bad international experience. We have to play it safe for now. So.
And we also did some market research on the German people, the consumer base. And Germany's reputation for engineering excellence and innovation means that consumers buying German goods are typically looking for that bit extra. And I think our products obviously provide that. You provide the engineers, the machinery. Sorry, we make the machinery, you provide the equipment, and I think the high quality product should suffice.
Guys, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you coming in, even though you got stuck in traffic and got us late. Well done that.
Yeah.
Is that alright? Well, you guys take care, alright?
Thank you.
Thank you for the research that is done, and
Thank you.
We'll
we'll make this work.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
We'll do.